little bugbear of mine is when you see these advertisements for quick fix, get your body back after giving birth, okay? First off, you don't need to get your body back, you have it right now, okay? Secondly, you brought a human being into this world. Your body is amazing, okay? Thirdly, we don't and can't go back in time, okay? So what your body was like before giving birth and what it's like now are different things. You're not going back, okay? But can we create appropriate loads that will support and assist your body in becoming stronger, more capable, more resilient? Absolutely. A diastasis recti is separation is the tissue here along the belly, and it becomes widened, as it should do in the process of pregnancy, okay? So let's get clear, 100% of women have a diastasis recti in the days after birth, okay? The degree to which that diastasis recti will close in the following months is very much individual and unique, okay? And the demands upon that are very individual and unique. So what I want you to think about is strengthening the muscles is not going to close the gap, okay? Creating healthy loads throughout all of your day-to-day is what is going to help this tissue to function well. It's going to help it recover to its full potential, and it's going to reduce risks of further problems. A lot of focus over the years was put in the width of the gap, and we're still learning an awful lot about this, and there isn't enough evidence about it, as with many aspects of women's bodies, okay? And it used to be how much space, how many fingers sideways were there in between the muscles. And what we're now learning is that it's not really just about width, it's also about the quality of the tissue, so how deep the diastasis recti goes and how that tissue feels also, okay? So to keep in mind, there isn't consensus on this. There is not, despite what some people will tell you, a formula, okay? It's about working with your body. So some of the influences upon that are the pressure within this whole region, from breathing, from lifting, from moving, from walking. So this is all about your day-to-day. Also your general gut health, so how all of those intestines and everything in there are functioning. How you breathe, okay, so our inhalation and exhalation and what's going on with that and how we use that is important, okay, and that it's a constant interplay. So I'm going to get you to think about, first of all, if we're in standing, okay, and what we do when we're holding our child, okay, is quite often we will hang on one hip or the other, and quite often we'll sort of just hang off of the hips and the joints here. So I want you to just very simply just think about your hips and your pelvis moving backwards, okay? So you're just simply shifting the weight of the pelvis, so it's more over your heels rather than hanging out here in front, okay? And what you're going to notice is that your belly, okay, when we shift back, feels a little bit more contained. It changes the sense of pressure, and that's a healthier position for your diastasis recti. If you're holding your child, try not to hang off on one hip here. So bring the hips so they're directly over the feet. You may find, whoa, I've got to work a little bit more with my arms here. But you may also notice that this area feels a little bit less strained or twisted or pulled. And this is a good thing for your diastasis recti. So bringing your child onto the hip, okay, and try and switch it around, or sometimes hold them in front, but do try and keep the weight over the feet rather than hanging out on one joint. I'm not saying you should never hang off of the joints, but that's a nice little way to be kinder to your diastasis recti. Really be aware of how you're breathing, and particularly what I want you to notice is, are you holding your breath, okay? Especially if you're lifting something. So if you're bending, twisting, taking the child out of the car seat, really think about using your out breath, okay? Don't hold your breath. Breathe out as you do those things. And that's going to be more supportive of the abdominal, intra-abdominal pressure and its function with your diastasis recti. So those are useful ways to help your body. Now I'm going to show a couple of simple exercises, and these are great ways to, over time, and remember this is over time, support your body in healing a diastasis recti. Now, when you're lying on your back, what I'd like you to do is to lift up your head and look at your belly. So notice if there is quite a bit of doming or pooching up here of the belly. So see if we can lift up as we breathe out, lift up the head, and look at your belly and really be aware of preventing too much of that doming or bulging. And this is what I want you to do with every single exercise. Notice what happens here. Now, it's not the end of the world if it does bulge or dome a little bit here and there, okay? So don't panic about that. But if we want appropriate load on it to help to reinforce, then avoiding doming is a useful strategy. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is to extend your legs out and notice that your back arch is up a little bit here. And I want you to really think about using the front of your ribs to firm your back down towards the floor. And you're going to notice that creates a nice firmness around here. So with this next exercise, we want to be very aware that there is no pooching, doming, popping or bulging going on here at the belly. At the same time, I don't want you to be rigid and locked in with it, okay? So our breath is important here. We'd like to feel that we should be able to talk while doing any of these exercises to appropriately challenge our diastasis recti. So I'm going to get you to take a weight. Now this is just a 2 kg dumbbell. So you could use anything. You could use 2 litres of milk, okay? And play around with how much weight you use. So use more or less, depending on how it goes. Keep your ribs a little bit anchored and keep your belly from doming, and just simply breathe out and bring that weight back behind the head and nice and slowly bringing it back up again. Now if you need to, you could prop under the head a little bit if your neck is uncomfortable here. Breathe out as that weight goes backwards and breathing in as it slowly comes back upwards. So working another few of those, and our purpose here is not to create a huge strength demand, but to really notice what happens with that belly as we load, and are we in control of it? So getting in control of any doming or bulging is the big target here. Now, a movement that is sometimes demonized a little bit in terms of diastasis recti issues is rotation. So women are often warned off of doing any exercises with rotation. Now, here's an issue. In your day-to-day, do you need to rotate? And the answer is yes. Think about trying to wrestle a baby out of a car seat. What are you doing? You're rotating. Think about comforting when you're in the car and you have to turn around. Think about when you're sitting on the couch trying to feed them and you've got to reach to get something. So rotation is an integral part of your day already. So let's train you for it, okay? So this is a really great way to train appropriate use of intra-abdominal pressure and all of these muscles around your diastasis recti to allow this central area to gradually reinforce, okay? So what I'm going to get you to do is to sit in a chair and place your hands on your chest and just twist your body from side to side. And you're going to feel everything twist here. Now, what I want you to notice is where you go to, how far do you twist? Now, one of the things you are probably doing is moving your pelvis and your legs a little bit. It's called cheating. So I want you to grab a block or a cushion or anything at all, folded blanket or something in between your knees, and repeat the movement. Now what you might notice is you're getting a lot of movement down here. So I want this to stay absolutely still as you twist your torso from side to side. Hey, the movement just got a little smaller, didn't it? But what you may feel is that it feels a lot more efficient and tidy in this area. Now, I also want you to notice if you're tending to lift your shoulders and your rib cage to create the twist. Drop the shoulders and relax them. So feel that your neck and your shoulders stay completely relaxed. And what I'd also like you to do is to make sure that you're not popping your ribs upwards, okay? Now you don't have to lock them inwards, but just don't let them pop upwards. And rotate. The movement just got smaller again, didn't it? Now, let's think about using the breath, okay? And we do know that intra-abdominal pressure, okay, the stress and demand on these muscles, and your breath are an integral part of how this area can function well. So I want you to keep your block still, keep your pelvis steady, rotate with your shoulders relaxed and your neck long. Keep your ribs a little bit down, and we're going to breathe out as we twist, breathe in facing forward. So exhale, twist, inhale facing forward. Now each time you try to see, can you go maybe a tiny bit further, but really notice where is the point that something else changes. Maybe it's the block moving, maybe it's your shoulders lifting, maybe it's your ribs doing a little funky thing here. So exhale to twist, inhale facing forward. Simples, but a really highly effective way to train these muscles to work well in all of your everyday. Try giving that one a little go every day if you can. Doesn't matter how many reps. This is about retraining your body and your coordination, not about intense strength. Now, squats and lunges are a really great way to strengthen up the whole body, get us coordinated, and really nice challenges. But what I want you to think about in terms of our DOR or Diastasis Recti is what happens as you squat and lunge, and that's going to be unique to you, okay? So what I want you to notice as you go down into a squat, does it lengthen a lot here? And most importantly, are you getting any doming or bulging? Okay, so let that instruct you as to what's going on with your squat. So maybe you need to not go quite so deep. Maybe you're quite happy with going all the way down into a deep squat and it feels really great here and it feels really nice and strong. So use that to help you decide. The same thing with our lunges. So if we're doing a lunge and we feel everything's all sort of funky and all over the place here, and especially if we notice if there's any pressure on our DOR, well then we change. We maybe don't go so deep with the lunge, okay? Maybe we only come to here or here. Maybe we don't go so far in terms of distance, or maybe we only do body weight rather than adding weight. So be clear, there is no hard and fast rule here. What's important is you noticing what happens to this tissue and making sure that it's not under a huge amount of pressure, whatever the movement is that you're choosing. And that will include how much extra weight you add, or maybe how many repetitions you do. So make sure that you quit before you fail in terms of this tissue. This next movement is what we call a side doorway pull-up, okay? And it looks easy enough, and it is easy enough, but let's keep in mind the purpose of these movements is to create intelligent function around this area. So this is a really great exercise for this purpose. Now, what I want you to think about is holding on to a door frame, okay? And you're going to stand right close to it. So feet together, standing right in close to the doorway. We're going to think about a straight line from your heels to the crown of your head, and we're simply going to lean out away from that doorway and coming back again. So really notice that you're keeping the line as straight as you can. So I don't want this happening, okay? So if you're feeling that you're changing the shape of the sides of your waist, then don't go so far, okay? It might not feel strenuous, it might not feel difficult, but what we want is to improve the coordination here, the deeper control. And we're getting a really nice little arm workout here as well. This is a really great one to do while you're waiting for the kettle to boil or something like that around the house. Do always work both sides and take note of any significant differences between them. So just to recap on some of what we've covered there, what's really important for this area of your body in recovery and repair is give it time, okay? This is not going to happen overnight. Remember, it is not about strengthening muscles. It is about creating appropriate load management on tissue, okay? And this type of tissue in your body responds to load. It needs load to become stronger. But we have to make sure that that load is appropriate for where you're at that time. So pressure management is important. Do keep in mind the position of your rib cage and your pelvis. So remember to back those hips up when you're in standing, and especially if you're holding your child or any other weight. Okay, so we make sure that our rib cage and pelvis are stacked above our heels most of the time. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Now, do keep in mind that any exercise, okay, is okay, as long as we have that load management in place. So just pay attention to what is happening. Now, it might not be painful, okay, but you may just notice that the tissue is in some way being compromised, either bulging, or you feel like you've got to grip it really, really hard. So it should feel like you're really in control over that area. Remember, there is no set reps or weight, particular amount of weight that you should be using. Try it out and see how the body copes, okay? So it's not just about the exercise, it's about how you do the exercise for the initial period until you're really sure on, yeah, this area is holding nicely here and adapting to the load. Do keep it slow, okay? Avoid working fast. That's often when things get a bit funky and messy. Keep lighter weights, okay? It may be tempting to start loading more, but stay a little bit lighter than you feel you might use. So my suggestion is always to think about what you think you could do and do 70% for now, okay? And do less repetitions. So quit before you fail, okay? And enjoy being in your body, not the body you used to have, the body you have now. And remember, you brought a human into this world.